When we return home alive, the government turned up the heat on the Mindwarz program. Those of you who are not familiar with what Mindwarz is can quickly be brought up to speed with the video appropriately entitled Mindwarz, a once hidden view into the intelligence team's methods of surveillance, gang stalking, silent weapons, counterintelligence, blackmail, and espionage tactics. This applies pressure and instills false beliefs, often concerning religious, superstitions, or the occult. Through Mindwarz, people are often killed, enslaved, and tortured to such extremes that they often fall victim to accidents, are falsely imprisoned, or are set up to be murdered. But I kept getting through the rounds. I kept getting through by the skin of my teeth. And even I didn't know how I kept making it sometimes, when my own extended family is easily swayed under their command, reeled back in, and convinced of the need to exterminate me. And through their proximity, managed to deliver a package with a teary letter attached to nothing less than a twofold assault trap. Now this is a rather personal story involving members of my own pirate-like though extended family. So I will deal with this betrayal on my own terms. And I don't think I need to go into too many details for everyone else. Yet, as I lay there on the floor, after the second assault had taken effect, I'd spotted the first weapon being a vapor bomb in the form of a doused stack of paper, which instantly flooded the joint with a wicked stench of some type of chloroform once they were opened. Still, I held my breath and took to airing out the place with electric fans and throwing up all the windows. The truth is, my wife had opened up the package when I was downstairs, and when I returned upstairs, they were all passed out in the living room. And the package was opened up, and it was like this chlorophyll-like stench had filled the entire room. They were all passed out. They usually don't hit the bed until like 9:30 or 10. They're not out. They're out like 6:37. This terrible smell has filled the apartment, and I have to go around grabbing this shit. This stack of papers, I put it out in the back of the truck, and I take to putting fans at every window. Open up my doors. This is personal shit. This is personal shit about people in my family. So later that night, so tell you some more personal stuff that I don't need to tell you. I consume something. By the time I know it's poison, I'm on the floor. I'm in my living room floor on the carpet. And I feel my life slipping away. And if it's this easy to kill me, it's this easy to kill me. So I'm just sitting there on the floor, just waiting for it to happen. My family's upstairs. And what's kind of interesting is I'm opening up all the windows, trying to get them to wake up and get them to go upstairs and try to fix that. And moments later, an hour and a half later, they wanted me out of here. They kept on. This is just one day. This has gone on and on and on. So to read my journal here, and I'm dying on my living room floor, and I feel my life slipping away. My heart is beating so fast it's a blur. I feel on the verge of passing out. So this is what it's like to die of poison. And while I die, I feel many eyes on me. I feel small as I shrink away to this last scene. Looking down on myself, I see a man falling on his carpet, dying in his small apartment, in a strip of condos, in a city, in a state, in a country. In a country he believed when they told him he had certain rights. Freedom of speech, freedom of press, right to a trial. Yet this is how his government did him and secretly executed him. And as I, in agony, fell farther into death, I feel many eyes on me yet none arrived to help, except the ones who first approached as spirits. And this time, they solidified as flesh, and then there were these advanced men and women standing above me and around me, and one touched me on the shoulder and then provided me with a cure. They said to stand and walk it off, and I stood on weak legs and staggered outside, and I walked past a neighbor who greeted me. And it was then that I realized that I was still too shooken up to properly talk, and I jumbled my words incoherently. He guessed that I was drunk and responded with, "Having a bad one tonight, huh, John?" I nodded my head, and I continued up the hill, trying to walk off a poison-induced heart attack. And then I heard a voice sound very loud behind me. "Where are you going, John?" I turned and saw it was one of those who had helped me survive through these attacks. He was a large man seated on one of the porches in the apartment strip. And I could only reply in an awful slurring speech, "Just up the street, dude." And he smiled and disappeared. And now I was looking down towards the house, and I decided to go back home where my wife and children were, especially after all this happened tonight. And as I walked back in the direction of home down the hill, I couldn't walk too well, and I definitely couldn't speak too well, but my eyes were like magnifying lenses, and I could see very, very clearly. And there were these young men and women standing around me, and these were those who had materialized from spirit, yet they were still invisible to most. And the reason that I saw them was either because they wished to reveal themselves to me, or because I had been flooded with so much adrenaline and endorphins throughout this episode that my senses were highly tuned. Of course, you could come up with your reasons for why this happened, but I know that I'm here talking about this today because of them. These people had provided me with support when I needed support, and only when I really needed support, when I was at the brink of death, when only they could bring me back, when only a doctor could bring me back. And after looking back, I could tell that they did this all to even up the sides a little bit. After all, it was just me, setting up to the U.S. Special Forces Mindwarz Division. And that's 100% the truth.